Welcome one and all to Umami Manga. I'm one of your hosts, Petter, and with me I got my co-host, James.
Yeah, hello.
And today we're talking about volume 18 of the Kaguya-sama Love is War manga. We are finally sort of caught up to as many volumes as are out right now, except I think today, as of us recording, is the day that volume 19 is released, at least, the English release of it.
Yep. Amazon's gonna be dropping off that volume 19 any second now.
Yeah, you're lucky that you live in America. For me in Sweden, it usually takes like an extra month for us to get the volumes, and it's never like we usually don't have like an exact release day for it. So I just had to kind of estimate, like it's usually a week or a month plus a week or so of wait between there. But anyway, basically we're more or less caught up now to where the story is, at least in the English physical volumes, which is awesome. And yeah, let's dig into this volume, I guess. Let's start by talking about Kaguya Shinomiya. In the first chapter, we learn about her method of kind of testing if she can trust people, her friendship test, which I thought was, well, it made sense with her character, and it was interesting to kind of get that detail on that. I think we might talk a little bit about it on some of the other characters that she has tested kind of throughout the years later when we talk about those characters specifically.
Okay.
But just one thing, kind of without going too much into depth, that I wanted to talk about here regarding that test of hers was that we learn at the end of that chapter that Maki, Chika, Nagisa, and Yu have passed the test. First of all, really nice to see that Maki passed the test, which means she thinks of Maki as a friend, which we kind of basically speculated on that. We basically said that last time when we talked about the previous volume. That it seems like she has, she seems to think well of Maki, all things considered. So, but it was nice to kind of get that confirmation here. However, one thing that I was kind of a little bit baffled by was that we also learned that Miko, Miyuki, and Ai haven't been tested yet. Miko I can understand, but Miyuki and I would have felt like either she would have already tested them both by now, or they would have passed without having done the test, like Yu did, because she'd never actually tested Yu, but she kind of deemed him worthy anyway. I feel like Miyuki and I would have at least been in that boat, right? Or what do you think?
So with Miyuki, I felt like it was more because she didn't quite understand her relationship with him for the longest time, and or I guess I don't know. I didn't feel like she had a need to test him because she saw how kind he was the whole entire time. So that one didn't really surprise me per se.
Right, but I feel like he would be the same as Yu, like, because it was also explained that Yu hadn't actually been tested, but he was still put in that group because, well, I feel like Miyuki should be the same, right? Isn't that kind of strange?
Yeah, when you put it in that context, yeah, it is a little strange because you're right, Ishigami wasn't put under the same kind of test that the other two, I imagine, were Chika and Kashiwagi and Maki.
Right, because it says like that Yu Ishigami, he passed judging from his behavior. So I feel like Miyuki would be the same because Miyuki, like she's even said like Miyuki changed her life, like straight up, because of how kind and genuine he is. Maybe I'm thinking way too much into this. Maybe I don't know. I was just a little bit baffled.
Yeah, that's a good point. Why wouldn't she just put yes? Because they're dating at this point, so surely she would consider him a friend. I don't know. I didn't think about it too much.
Right. Ai though, do you have anything to say about Ai?
I was just a little surprised by that. I guess since she uses Ai to test people, I guess it'd be hard to do that with her. So maybe that's the logic behind it.
Maybe.
But I still thought it was odd that she couldn't consider Ai herself a friend, or at least trustworthy at this point.
That is, yeah, I think that is very strange. Oh well.
But maybe Miyuki and Ai are the two exceptions to this whole test thing. I guess you could even say Ishigami is an exception because it was just based on his character.
Right.
but yeah, maybe those two are just exceptions to it because she's one so close to Ai Hayasaka, and also I guess you could say now she's really close with Miyuki, and he's changed her life in that way.
Right. And something that I actually just kind of thought of is maybe she thinks of both of them as more than friends in a sense.
Okay.
Well, obviously Miyuki, since I mean they're lovers at this point.
Well, yeah.
But I was thinking with Hayasaka, they kind of really they have the sisterly bond, which in a sense make them family, which in depending on how you view it is more than friends in some
totally
on some level. So
I agree. They kind of have
so
that sisterly
maybe
bond.
maybe it works that way.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if it will be brought up again. Like she will test them in some way, which I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe it'd be more comedic than serious. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
But at this point, I feel like they've earned her trust.
Right.
In some way, but maybe, but again, maybe she's breaking out from that, not having to put people onto that test anymore. Who knows?
Exactly. Yeah, because in that chapter, she did seem to maybe question that a little bit. Like what if I wasn't so distrustful of people, like, or something along those lines. Like she kind of had those thoughts. So maybe that's some kind of character development that she has in front of her.
Maybe. So my thoughts on all this, I mean, I think it's smart based on her family's background and how people kind of treat her family, and at least in the school setting with all the rumors and stuff like that. So I understand why she was doing it, but it's so sad that she'd have to do it and, cut ties with people who did spread the gossip. I mean, look, I don't like gossip. Not many people, I think, at least say they like gossip, So I understand why she'd want to, nip that at the bud. But it's still sad that she has to burn bridges that way because just of her family situation.
Definitely.
Well, along those lines, I was so scared to find out who told the rumor. Like, because I really had no idea that how Onodera found out. So I was just kind of, worried that someone did break that trust. And I was like, no, I can't know. This can't be. Don't let this happen. and then it turned out just to be herself, which I had no idea that one gag thing would come back.
Right.
In another chapter, which is hilarious.
That is great.
I mean, I think as the same with a lot of great authors and mangaka, it's the ability to go back to things they either hint at or just briefly mention and then bring that back up in the story. You got to appreciate that, and Akasaka does a good job with that, clearly.
For sure. I love that. Something I thought was interesting and maybe a little bit cryptic, depending on how you look at it, perhaps, was that at the beginning of one of the chapters, I think it was after the volleyball chapter, she has an injured hand. Her right hand is injured.
Yes!
And so my initial thought on that was maybe when she was training Yu, she was just pushing herself as well really hard, and that maybe she got injured from the volleyball playing. That would be like the kind of less serious interpretation, I guess. But there's also like other possibilities, like what if maybe they hit her at home, or or something entirely different. I don't know. I feel like it could be a lot of different things.
It could be the first hint of something very serious.
Yeah.
Not sure. I mean, I hope not. That would be very, very sad. I mean, storytelling, but still.
Right. I mean, just sad. Based on really like the last chapter of this volume where we got to see one of her older brothers, like that was so menacing, and I feel like a lot of darkness can come from that place, and some pretty heavy stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that injury, I do wonder what that is. Like, if we never get an explanation for it, I'm going to assume that it was from playing volleyball.
Mm-hmm.
But I do hope that it's something else, because I do think it could be an interesting kind of build up to something maybe serious.
Mm-hmm. You bring a good point, because showing that and then just kind of letting it fall off without ever acknowledging it is a little odd.
Right.
So maybe it's not the volleyball thing, because that's what I thought too. I thought maybe it was a parallel to Chika and all her bandaged, hilariousness when she was watching Miyuki and she's like, "I raised that boy." Oh,
right.
Still one of my favorite scenes. So good. But so that kind of parallels Kaguya's hand as she trained Ishigami. Clearly not as incompetent, but she worked just as hard, I guess you could say. But they don't even really talk about it. I'm gonna just quickly turn to that because I want to see if.
Yeah, no, I think she just covers it up with her other hand, and neither of them say anything. You notices it though, but it's like nothing is said about it.
Yeah, I don't know. It is rather odd, but they never. But it's like never shown later on either, though.
Exactly.
So it's like, if it is a serious injury, you think it'd still be around.
I mean, it doesn't have to be necessarily a super serious injury. Like, if it is some kind of domestic violence, like, that's, even if it doesn't cause any super serious physical harm, it's still a super serious thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know.
I'm gonna lean towards the volleyball thing still, just because it still connects to that. But
that's true.
I'll keep it in the back of my mind that maybe there could be more to it.
Yeah, same for sure. So yeah, I don't have anything more on Kaguya specifically. Do you have anything more?
Her tongue is amazingly skillful.
It is.
But we already knew that, or at least Miyuki did.
Right, exactly. He should have known.
First-hand experience, or first tongue experience. Anyway.
Yeah. And of course she's good at it. She's good at everything.
Exactly. I like how Kaguya's advice is what she wants in a date. Or at least in general, I think her advice is basically she's thinking from her own mindset usually. But when you go into that one chapter where, I think it's that very same chapter with the bandaged hand.
Yeah.
You get the perspective of Hayasaka and Kaguya and hearing Ishigami's date ideas. And Kaguya, you see her point of view, and she gives her advice or what she thinks, and oh, that's creepy, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think again, Akasaka does a good job of giving different perspectives and not making Kaguya as the only correct way to view it. Because let's take that fashion date, for example. Kaguya thinks that's creepy or that's weird. Like, no, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying too hard. But Hayasaka, on the other hand, is like, oh my gosh, that sounds great. I could be like a princess.
Exactly.
And so I guess it's interesting to understand that not all of Ishigami's ideas are necessarily terrible. It's just the person he's shooting these ideas off to has a certain taste. And that taste is not for the extravagant. It's just normal things. And she keeps bringing that up. Just do it normally. It just comes with naturally. Don't force things.
Yeah, and I think that was good advice. I mean, it was funny as well, because I mean, she said something like, if you think of something normal, that's probably going to be like extra enough, something along those lines anyway, which was funny and true, I think, and good advice.
Well, I think the thing is, she would just want something normal. She's mentioned that in a previous volume where she doesn't want all that, doesn't need all that extravagant stuff. She just wants normal relationship, normal things, what she sees on TV, which is not normal, but in her mind it was.
Yeah.
So anyway, you could kind of see her own projection coming out in the advice she gives. I guess that's what I was trying to say.
Right. Yeah. And I definitely like that too.
But I think you're right as well. she did give him good advice. Because I mean, the rose thing is extra, like, or the flower things, like that's maybe that's a bit much.
Right. I do think so. Yeah, as much as you seem to really like that idea, it's maybe not, especially not for a first date. Maybe for like a 10-year anniversary date or something like that. But no, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything more on Kaguya though?
I think that's it.
Gotcha. And I was thinking actually with this volume, let's go with all the ladies first, or at least the prominent ones. So let's take Ai Hayasaka next. Because I do think her role was building like throughout this volume, and
especially towards the end.
Especially toward the end,
or the latter half.
Definitely right, exactly. And I have a feeling that in the next book, I mean, yeah, she is on the cover art on the next book, but we've also already kind of established that just like I guess that the cover art doesn't necessarily indicate what's inside the book. But I do think that she will play a big role in the next book, just based on how the story has been moving in this one.
No doubt.
And you know, we get to see more about kind of how her frustration with Kaguya has been growing, and just how and her longing for her own time to find romance and that kind of stuff. You know, she has this ideal dream date planned out for whenever she gets the chance to go on one, and, which was super sweet, super unrealistic apparently, but still very sweet.
I mean, hey, you gotta lay it down. You gotta keep it to straight. You know, it's you can't get from there to there in a reasonable amount of time. Come on. Yokohama's a big place. Anyway.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think it's cute that she, although she doesn't want to admit it, she fantasizes about, you know, these dating situations. I mean, I think it's interesting to compare her to Kaguya in that she was always planning out ways to get Miyuki to confess to her. So I don't understand how that's any different than Hayasaka, you know, maybe planning out a romantic date. You know, I think they're both just people who like to plan things out thoroughly.
Absolutely. Definitely.
For their own enjoyment as well.
Yeah.
So for me, the biggest thing that I took away from Hayasaka is just how, I don't know, lack of a better word, terrible her life is, or jam-packed and not healthy, in my opinion, especially for a 17-year-old.
No, for anyone, like it's even stated, I think, that what she does, like the work she's put to do, isn't legal.
Well, you know, underage reasons.
Right.
She's not even an adult, and she's doing all this.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's not surprising that the stress of work may be getting to her a lot. But you know, this whole time I always thought Kaguya just had it terrible, had it bad with her family situation, and she does. I don't mean to demean anything that is happening to her at all. Obviously, the Shinomiya family are terrible people, but I never realized how bad Hayasaka has it in her service to Kaguya.
Right.
So it's interesting. It's almost just like, should I be feeling more terror, or should I be feeling empathy more for Hayasaka or Kaguya? Like,
I mean, I don't think you necessarily have to compare it. I mean, because they're both in such terrible situations, really, like with their lives. Because you know, the chapter where we got to really see what her you know, day working was like, and then, you know, after it had gone like one lap around the cycle and it started anew again the next morning, and we see, you know, as she's getting ready for the day, she slowly starts crying in front of the mirror. That hit me so hard, because it's just at that point you know by then, like, just how hard she works, and that she does this, like, does she work like this every single day? I mean, obviously she doesn't go to school every day, but it's possible that she still has all of the house routines every single day. It's insane. Back in volume 11, it was at least indicated that she started working a bit less, like fewer hours after the whole rap thing. And if this is how much she works now, I don't even want to imagine how much she worked before that, before Volume 11.
Yeah.
If that was even more then, potentially.
I wonder about it. I don't know how clear it is, because
yeah,
Kaguya even mentions that, when they're on the train, that she'll get more workers to help lighten the loads, or like she was like working on it or something. Like, it's almost as if she wasn't able to comply with that demand yet. So maybe, I don't know. I'm unsure.
Right. Yeah, it's hard to know exactly.
Yeah. But I will say that there is a line in there that makes me think Hayasaka found a bit of fulfillment in the job she was doing. But, I mean, they also say it's because she was bred for this.
Right. Like, in a way, she's been brainwashed, really. Like, this is what she knows. Like, yeah. And because of that, and since she's still a child and she's been raised to do this, she doesn't question as easily. But maybe, hopefully, she's able to maybe start to question it now. But it is hard.
So, when I first read this chapter and the subsequent ones after, I did think that she kind of was breaking down because of stress, and she was trying to get away. But then we had that final page with the Shinomiya brother just looking so menacing and just like a scumbag.
Yeah.
It made me think, and then I put that at the back of my mind, and a week or two passed, and then I read the thing again. And there's a line in here that makes me wonder if there's a different reason why she's crying. So she says, and every day for the 10 plus years that she has been Kaguya's personal assistant, she has felt her guilt would crush her at any moment. Now,
right.
So I totally see being stressed out by this routine. However, why would guilt be the thing that's crushing her? Wouldn't it be stress or overwork or something like that? So I was, okay, what could she be feeling guilt? Guilt that she's not really enjoying herself. She's pretending to enjoy herself. Guilt that she's not her real self. Or is it guilt about one of her duties, which is, the last duty is, I'm reading it from the manga, her last duty is to call the main family and report in detail on what Kaguya Shinomiya did and said that day. Now, so that's another thing. When I first read it, I didn't think too much about it, but the second read through, because I was looking for something that would make her feel guilt, maybe there's something there. Maybe she feels bad for having shared a lot of Kaguya's secrets to the main family, or maybe it has something to do with this nasty brother who's manipulating her or trying to get her in some way. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts?
I was mostly just kind of confused by that, but I really like your idea of that guilt coming from her kind of regretting having, spilled all of Kaguya's details with the rest of the family, or the head of the family, or whoever she exactly reported it to.
Oh my gosh, yes. Because she hasn't had the test yet. She hasn't taken the friendship test, the trust test that Kaguya has. That's why that's important. And she's spilling all the secrets to the family, so that's going to be a big thing in their development in their relationship, I think.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I think that's it.
I think that's very likely too. Damn. Oh, oof. It could be really dramatic between these two characters, like if this all comes out, and like especially if this information that she gives to the head of the family is stuff that affects Kaguya in a bad way, like the fact that they know those sorts of things.
Yeah. Like for all we know, the Shinomiya family could be very much aware that she's now dating Shirogane.
Yeah, exactly. I was actually also thinking alternatively, and this is maybe a more optimistic way to view it. Although I like this pessimistic way that we just talked about, because it makes things exciting. But a more optimistic way to view it is that kind of the opposite, is that she feels like she's not doing her job well enough and feeling regret over that because she doesn't report all of the details. She holds some things as a secret from the head of the family, thus protecting Kaguya.
That would be nice.
That would be nicer, but maybe not as exciting.
Yeah. You know, I would feel bad if she was feeling guilt over that. It's like, no, you're doing the right thing.
True. But at the same time, I think it could make sense based on, as we talked about earlier, like she is more, in a sense, brainwashed kind of, and or at least she has been raised in this way. And so, I mean, I know it, it can be hard to break free from things that you're raised with,
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so I guess some interesting speculation there.
Yeah.
But the speculation doesn't end because there was an email from her mother telling her that she was going to talk to the head of the family or something like that.
Yeah, on the school trip when they were going to be in Kyoto anyway. She wanted her to visit.
So, is Hayasaka's reason for leaving Kaguya because she says, "Oh, I'm going to stop being your assistant. I'm going to go explore the world or just be my own person." Is it her lying to Kaguya about actually what's going to happen? Is she just going to run away somehow? Because either way, the brother at the end seems very excited about, or at least he's not going to let Hayasaka get away from him. At least that's what it sounds like. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard to say. At first, when we only got that text, or when she got that text from her mother, I based on how that was put, like based on how it was written, I didn't think she was going to stop working for the Shinomiya house entirely because it said something like she was only gonna. It seemed like she was only quitting her job as Kaguya's personal assistant. Thus, maybe she would keep her other duties at the house.
Yeah.
But it seems like later on in this book, it seemed more like she was probably going to quit altogether, because obviously, if she's going to travel the world and stuff, she wouldn't be able to be at the house, obviously.
Right.
So yeah, it does seem like she's going to try to quit altogether.
Yeah, I think it's escape. I think it's to get away from the Shinomiya family and having to report on what Kaguya is doing.
Yeah, I really do like that possibility, and I'm super excited for Volume 19 because I really do think that we're gonna get some good focus on her then, because it's pretty safe to say the confrontation at the Shinomiya Kyoto estates will happen in the next book because it's gonna have to happen during the school trip. And I don't think the school trip is gonna last the whole next volume. I think it's gonna end at some point next volume. I guess, since it's already started in this one. So, yeah, some stuff is gonna go down, and I'm super excited for it.
I just want to punch Unyo in the face. Just
right.
Right in the face. He just has a punchable face.
Yeah, a very ugly face. I love and this isn't unique to Akasaka exactly, but I know other mangaka or anime character designers do it too. They draw these really evil characters with really ugly faces, and I love that kind of thing. Just it's cool. It makes it much easier to hate them.
Yeah, I hope he's not doing anything to Hayasaka that is abusive or anything like. I mean, the whole thing is already abuse to begin with, but I hope it's not anything further than that.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Anything more on Ai?
Just that Miyuki is able to see through Hayasaka's lie. I guess finally, or he's able to connect the dots. Mm-hmm. So, I guess we'll see where that leads. I'm sure that will be beneficial to Hayasaka in some way.
Definitely, absolutely. So next up, let's talk about my girl Miko Ino. I've really only taken notes for her for one specific scene, and I'm sure you know which one. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's the one where she's crying in the student council chambers, where at first when Miyuki came into the room and we see her crying there, my initial reaction was that, oh, she's crying because she just saw Yu and Tsubame making plans for their date. Like, that was initially where my brain went. And I think probably for most people, that was where their brain went. But then we learned that the secret report had been taken off of its shelf. And then, along with Miyuki, I'm sure most readers, me included, think that, okay, she just read the report and she's crying because she just learned of Yu's tragic past and the rumors and all that. And I think both of those reasons for her crying would have been interesting reasons, or kind of would have been, well, I was excited to maybe get some development from her in that chapter. Of course, at the end it was, played as a joke, with the wireless earbuds and all that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess I was a little bit disappointed in that fake out, because I was so ready for some actual like character development, kind of.
Right. Now you know how I feel as a Chika fanboy.
Yeah. Oh my God, that is so true.
No. Actually, I found a little positive, or at least an interesting twist to this, because this is another instance of me finding something when I reread it. She's listening to the heartbeat and, feeling like she's in the womb, like she says.
Yeah.
She does that because she's depressed.
Yes.
Now, she doesn't look depressed when she's talking to Miyuki. She's like, oh, you should try it. It's great. But she was doing it for a reason before Miyuki came in. And obviously we don't understand that reason. But I think, now it could be because she saw Tsubame and Ishigami. I don't think she's at that point where she'd be broken to tears at seeing them together. I don't think she's quite gotten to the point where she's that into Ishigami yet. But I think it's more that that report, she saw it. And I think we know that Kobachi is the one that has it at the end, right? But how does she get it? She had to go into the student council room at some point. And who was with Kobachi when Tsubame, or when Ishigami was asking out Tsubame, or they were working on their date?
Right.
Miko. They were together. So at one point, and Miyuki wasn't too far away either. So at one point, they both went into the student council room, and then Kobachi left with the notebook, I think. That's my theory. And I think she may have saw it then.
Like, they may have looked at it together. Or, well, actually, Miko would have
potentially.
Yeah, I'm really curious there, because in previous discussions, we've talked about that we thought it made sense for Miko to have known about the rumors all along, or the truth behind the rumors.
Right.
And I still really kind of like that idea. But if this is true, which I'm not saying it is, I'm not saying it's not. But if this is
there's
true,
more to it.
Oh, sorry. Then go ahead.
Right. So I think you are right that Miko has some sort of knowledge of what happened before, and who knows how long it will take for us to find out what that is. But it could be they had a discussion with each other in the room, Kobachi and Miko, about showing that file to Tsubame, and maybe Miko is having a kind of a conflict within herself on, does she want Tsubame to be with you, or does she want Ishigami to be with Tsubame? And I think maybe there was some confrontation there about why Kobachi had to show Tsubame the notebook, or at least why she felt she had to.
Right.
So, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm reading too much into it. Maybe she was just depressed about she didn't get enough to eat that day. I don't know.
No. Like, no, I really like this speculation. My idea before our discussion here was that it was basically what my initial reaction was when I first saw her crying, was that she was sad because she is starting to kind of see that Yu and Tsubame's relationship is getting a little closer to something real, and that, like, however, I really like your idea here too. So I think they're both similar in a sense. It's just, I guess, yours is a bit more elaborate. But they're both really that she's crying because, well, she doesn't want you to be with somebody else.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
like at the core of it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, I could legitimately see your idea like getting a little bit of a flashback, and actually like that whole thing plays out the way you said it. I could imagine that.
I think it'd be very interesting,
Uh-huh.
and it'd probably help us understand both Miko and Kobachi's mindset regarding Ishigami. So that'd be nice.
Yeah.
But we'll see if we get that, or is that just a loose thread? It could be addressed in volume 20, where 19 becomes like the school trip volume, and then 20 is this is what happened when they were when everyone else was on the school trip.
Exactly. Yeah, I was also thinking that we got to get some, got to see what's happening at the school when the others are away. I was also definitely hoping for that. But yeah, I guess the last thing I have on Miko is that it was like, because it was obvious that she was sad. I mean, she admitted to listening to that because she was feeling depressed.
Mm-hmm.
Which is where I'm a little bit kind of confused by her, because she openly admits to feeling sad to Miyuki there, but as soon as she notices him, she, like, her face, in her appearance, she immediately kind of hides her sadness, but she does still vocally or verbally kind of admit to it.
Which she's not usually one to hide her emotions, or she's not really able to usually, right? Well, I guess
Yeah.
with Ishigami, maybe she is. I don't know. I think that she got a good cry in and said some, edgy poetry.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that made her feel better, and that's why she was much happier. Maybe.
Maybe.
And maybe she was like excited to share a new thing with a fellow poet.
Oh yeah, I mean, true. And I mean, I guess she did also say that listening to those heartbeat sounds did help.
Yeah.
So, if it helps, then yeah, I guess she does feel better after having listened to it for a while. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I still I keep getting more and more intrigued by her, and all of her kind of struggles and the pains that she has.
Also, her hobbies, and just I don't know what kind of person she is, because you see this strict and also shy side, or someone who loves to get affection and whatnot. But in this volume, you see that she's a multitasker, which I don't think we knew before. And
Well,
I'm amazed by multitaskers, to be honest. Like I can't do it.
isn't it a stereotype that there are more female multitaskers than male multitaskers?
Wait, is that a stereotype?
I actually, personally, I don't even think it's a stereotype. I think men are just bad at doing two things at once. Meanwhile, girls usually are better at it. I legitimately think that's true.
Huh.
I could be wrong, of course, but
Now that I think about it, I think that may be
at least on
something I've heard
average, I think
before.
it's.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, either way, it's interesting what she can multitask with, or what she chooses to watch while she studies. With
Yeah.
VTubers and streams of video games and whatnot. I
Mm-hmm.
I knew that there was an otaku side to her, but I didn't know she was into video games and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's interesting to see that side of her. It makes you wonder. It's like, what other things do we really not know about her?
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
When she's comfortable, she's really chill. Or at least when she's not like this super strict and mad person, she's really chill. I guess that, again,
Yeah.
that's like a chihuahua. When the chihuahua likes you, they're really nice.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I guess that's it on Miko.
Yeah.
Then let's move on to your girl, Chika Fujiwara.
Woot!
She is the type of person who keeps other people's secrets to herself. She doesn't spread them around. She doesn't leak them around. I thought that was super sweet.
Yeah. She is a loyal friend.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess it shouldn't come as a surprise necessarily that she is, but it was just so nice to see, especially like because we know that Kaguya doesn't have a lot of friends,
Mm-hmm.
and based on that, or obviously we don't know how many times she has performed this test
Right.
on people, but I mean I imagine she at least has, it is still established enough to be a thing, so she must have tested it out on a number of people.
Mm-hmm.
And the way it seems, obviously it's not told explicitly, but it seems like Chika may have been the first one to pass the test, because
Potentially.
I think she has been kind of referred to as Kaguya's oldest friend, right?
Right. Well, they've been friends for at least since middle school. So besides Hayasaka, I think she's probably the first one to pass the test, or at least the oldest friend remaining.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So that was really nice to see, and it made me think higher of her, even though, as I said earlier, it wasn't like super surprising to see it, but it was nice to see it.
I think I agree. It was nice to see it, and I think some of the student councils, namely Ishigami, I think they didn't or don't think too highly of Chika in that they can't trust her or whatever. And I felt like this volume was all about how much you can trust Chika. Not I mean that wasn't the only, not even the main reason, but
But
I meant regarding Chika, it was about how you can trust Chika.
yes.
And in a previous volume, Miko whispers some things to Chika, and then she immediately blurts it out. But she says, "If you tell me not to tell anybody, I won't. But if you don't, I'm just gonna blurt it out. It's because you want me to. You wanted me to say that. Is basically
that's true.
what she says.
Yeah.
So this is our actually seeing that if you tell me not to say anything, I won't.
And I think she can probably also, like, if we take Miyuki's like every time she has been coaching him and teaching him stuff, she hasn't gone on and like
that's true
spilled all of that information to a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Even though that he showed her his vulnerable, weak side kind of there in all of those instances, but yeah, as far as we know, she has kept that to herself. I mean, sometimes she has expressed that, like teaching him is hell, but like that's really as far as she goes. So that's it adds up, and it's very respectable.
Yeah, I guess she has the ability to understand, what things should be shared and what shouldn't be,
Right.
So that's good on her. She knows how to get on Miko's good side.
Yeah, she really does manipulate Miko, like really without any shame in this volume.
Yeah.
It's funny, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, she's a 16-year-old girl. She makes mistakes.
Of course, absolutely. And it's harmless.
Quoting Chika.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, it's true. I do agree with that. I think that was a good point, and although it's strange to say it about yourself, I guess, but but it's true though. And well, she has the PTSD from coaching Miyuki still. It's still haunting her.
Big time. It's funny how Akasaga's bringing in new ways of exploring the coach Chika and student Miyuki kind of plot thread instead of just redoing it for a new skill over and over again. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, really. Like, because I never read like the blurb, like the backside of the book, because I usually I know it's not like crazy spoilers or anything, but it's like I guess
it gives vague hints.
Yeah, right. And so I usually try to even avoid that.
Yeah.
And additionally, I also never read the summary for the next volume that is usually at the end of each book. I don't read those either, just because I want to avoid spoilers as much as possible, even though they're just small things. However, I do look at the images at the back on the back of each of the books, and like before I read the book, and on the back of this one there is the picture of Chika and Yu and like doing in the volleyball chapter. Which obviously, with only that picture, it made me think, oh my god, they're gonna mirror kind of the Chika teaches Miyuki to Chika teaches Yu, now, kind of start from the volleyball thing or something like that. Obviously, that it wasn't exactly the case, even though Chika tried to make that the case. But it was still that chapter was still like a really funny kind of rhyme with its previous one, but still with a fun twist at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Anyway, sorry, Chika.
So Chika really wanted to tell the school that Ishigami was not guilty, that justice was on his side.
Yes.
One, I think that shows how much she values justice and making sure people understand the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that it was the same with everyone.
Really, the whole council wanted
the whole council was like that. So it's kind of hard to say that, this is just on Chika's, but she was the one who kept the secret plans, and she is the secretary. So I guess, she was the one that was in charge of those files. So good on her for, I guess, keeping those around and
putting them in that like very spectacular looking book thing.
Phenomenal.
So I like that, because I mean that was definitely another step toward the potential, like the possibility of someone else finding out.
Right, but Chika included, respected Ishigami's wishes and not telling anybody. So in that sense, I think Ishigami should learn to trust Chika a little more.
Yeah, but if only he knew about this.
Right. Yeah, he doesn't.
Because Chika hasn't really given him a lot of reason to think highly of her,
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But my last thing on Chika here is her very smart plan to trick the students into voting for a Kyoto school trip, which was really, really, I mean, it's very much a Chika thing to do, like this kind of really kind of scheming, cunning thing, and it succeeded. Like it was awesome. Also, of course, it was funny that she didn't actually want to go to Kyoto. She just she wanted to actually go to like some other country, and she just wanted to look smart, and she didn't even expect the plan to actually work. Really funny Chika moments, and just brilliant, I think. And you said something about her that I thought was very profound and just kind of really summed up her character very nicely. Was I know she's really talented. The problem is that at her core,
she's stupid.
She's stupid, yeah.
I love it.
That's just so good.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, absolutely not. No. It is a funny, like she is really a unique character. I think I've never encountered a fictional character like her in any other story, just with that kind of charm that she has, and being so creative yet dense at the same time. It's really incredible.
Indeed, yeah. I'm excited that in this volume we got a little bit more of the student council maybe appreciating her, or at least Ishigami, seeing that, or acknowledging the fact that she's quite brilliant in her own way.
Yeah, exactly.
But it doesn't change what we know Chika to be. You know what I mean? So
absolutely.
I appreciate that. One last thing about her is more about what she's seeing between Ishigami and Miko, because she suggests to Ishigami, "Hey, if you just compliment her, she'll just do whatever you said. She'll melt in your hands. Like, it's not that hard." And Ishigami explains, "Oh, you don't understand." But she kind of gives him a look, and she says, "Why are you looking at me like that?" And I think she says, "No reason."
Right.
Do you think? Now, one way it could be taken is that it's like, "Oh, you poor naive fool, you have no idea." Or it could be that maybe she suspects something between the two, because we do know that she's fairly perceptive in a few ways. I think the only one where she's pretty dense is just Kaguya and Miyuki.
Yeah.
Besides that, I think she's done a pretty good job of sniffing out romance, or at least reading the air in the room. So I think that goes back to, was it previous volume where she pretended to be Ishigami's girlfriend, and Miko kind of almost broke down.
Right.
So, anyway, maybe she is noticing that. What do you think?
I had the same thought. Like
Okay.
I'm not completely sure, but I had the same thought, and I like to think that is the case. Even though I'm not super convinced yet, but I like to think that's the case because I think that would be an interesting kind of change of pace, since we've gone through the whole journey leading up to the romance between Miyuki and Kaguya, in which it really was just like each of them on their own. I guess Kaguya had Hayasaka, but like for the most part, it was like really just the two of them by themselves. But if
Yeah.
Chika is able to figure this out and potentially kind of help them out, like help both of them out, into like kind of maybe getting into a relationship eventually, I think that could be a fresh take on this whole thing, perhaps.
Yeah, that'd be cute.
And she would be so into that too.
Oh yeah, totally. Oh yeah, she'd love that. Oh. Yeah. I'm really interested to see what she thinks of Kaguya and Miyuki dating. I really want to know.
Yeah, oh, I can't wait for like all the whole student council to learn.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. I yeah. Anyway, sorry. I'm trying to control myself here.
Yeah, it's good. Was that it for Chika?
Yeah.
All right, then. Let's move on to... Well, that was all of the main girls in this volume. So let's talk about Miyuki next. He does decide to take it upon himself to share Yu's secret with Tsubame.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, he doesn't make it in time. The report is already gone when he gets to the student council. But he does at least make that decision to do that, even though he knows that Yu doesn't want that to happen. Which I thought was interesting because he was arguably the one who was the most adamant out of the three OG student council members to respect Yu's wishes. Because Chika was very much against it, like very openly.
Yeah.
And Kaguya said she would do whatever Miyuki did. So it was really most like he was like the one who felt strongest to protect Yu's secret there.
I think it's because he saw Tsubame talking with some of the other first years and they were not saying the greatest things about him.
Right.
So he must have felt pushed to do that in order to save Tsubame's and Ishigami's potential relationship.
So. Right. Yeah. Of course. Like I understand that's the reason because he doesn't want that whole to get ruined just because of those rumors. So like it is still like I respect him for it, but it is still I thought interesting to that he did kind of go through that little change in how he viewed that.
Yeah.
What else on Miyuki?
I don't have anything.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Oh yeah, we talked about that earlier. I got a few other things. I'll try to bite those off. He fantasizes about how he and Kaguya will look back at their life and like look back at the student or at the school trip, like when they're like adults and like probably when they're married, like looking back at those good days. Like I thought that was nice, and like just see how serious he is about their relationship, kind of, and yeah, I thought it was very sweet.
That was sweet.
Yeah. And he also thinks that girls with wet hair are attractive, probably because he saw Kaguya like that pretty much the first time he saw her. I thought that was a nice little thing that added to like by a previous chapter.
Isn't there a footnote within this volume that takes you to that, or no?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is. Otherwise, I wouldn't have. I don't think I would have put that together otherwise. Yeah. But that definitely was a fun little thing. And the last thing I had on Miyuki, and I think you mentioned it a little bit earlier, was how he did figure out at the end of the volume that Hayasaka and Husky are the same person. And yeah, I'm also super excited to see where that's going to lead in the next volume. And as you said, I also think this will benefit Hayasaka in some way because we know how good Miyuki is at helping his friends.
Yeah.
And like finding solutions to problems to, get them out of trouble. So yeah, I'm very hopeful for the next one.
I'm just waiting for the Miyuki saves Chika arc. When is that going to happen?
Right? We talked about
Never.
that, right? Like, he's basically saved everyone in some way except for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely with you there. Oh well. Moving on to Yu Ishigami.
People are still throwing rumors out about Ishigami. I kind of thought they may have died down a little bit, and maybe they have, but they're still trying to, I guess, taint Tsubame's image of Ishigami still.
Yeah.
So it's sad to see, and maybe by the end of his time at the school, those rumors will be virtually gone, but it may be something that he has to deal with his entire school life.
Unless someone spills all of the beans publicly.
True. I mean, yeah.
Like, ultimately, I do think that would be best for him. It's just not what he wants.
Right.
So, yeah, it is complicated.
I think he has been a little stubborn about not revealing those secrets. Or not secrets, but revealing the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, what's her name will feel terrible, but that's just, you make mistakes, part of growing up.
Right, and I was also thinking about that actually. I think actually it was with this volume that I kind of changed my mind on that. I would still probably, if I existed in this story or whatever and was in these sorts of situations, I would probably still respect his desire, because ultimately I think it's his choice to make.
Right.
However, prior to this volume, I was much more kind of on his side on it, like understanding of his reasonings. But actually, after I read this volume the first time, I started thinking more like, yeah, like she might actually in the long run, she might be better off knowing the girl, the girl from his backstory. She might be better off knowing, because people learn from their mistakes. If she doesn't learn the truth behind all of that, she might make that mistake again and get hurt for real that time. Whereas she could have learned from that mistake earlier to grow into a better person, a stronger person sooner.
Agreed.
Possibly. So, yeah, I don't agree. I also don't agree with his reasoning there anymore.
That's all I got on Ishigami.
Gotcha. So I guess those were all of the main characters, even though we didn't have too much on the guys. But moving on to the other characters, Kobachi Osaragi, I guess we mentioned her earlier. She is the one to leak Yu's secret to Tsubame, as we said, and
totally team Tsubame and Ishigami.
Right?
I have been saying this for a while now.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that Miko's best friend would not be supporting her potentially in this. Maybe there's more to it. But here are a couple of my thoughts on that, on why she would be pro Tsubame. Maybe she wanted to help Ishigami find love, or at least have something normal so he can break away from the rumors, because maybe she felt like the rumors were stupid. Or she knew the truth somehow, like Miko did.
Right. Yeah, because we do know that she has never had any ill will toward Yu, so...
Yeah, and that could be either because she knows the truth, or she just doesn't believe what everyone's saying. Maybe she's trying to help Tsubame. Maybe they're actually somewhat close friends. I don't think very close, but maybe they're somewhat close friends, and understand that Tsubame was going through a hard breakup, and maybe she felt like Ishigami would be the one to help her. I don't believe in that one too much.
Gotcha, yeah.
But where does that leave Miko in all this? Like, why would she abandon what looked like she was trying to build, being the Ishigami and Miko ship? I don't quite understand, because like you were saying, in the earlier chapters with her, while she didn't think they liked each other, they thought that they didn't hate each other, and then they had that whole kind of couple counseling or friendship. What do you even call that? With Miyuki in the student council room, they did different like friendship building exercises.
Right, exactly. That's what it was.
And it seemed like Kobachi was making them a little more romantic than than friendship, or a little more than friends.
Exactly.
But maybe that was more Miyuki than Kobachi. I don't know.
Well, she definitely, like, at that point in time, she seemed like the first Miko Yu shipper. I thought. But then obviously, as you said, like, as the volumes went on after that, it has been more and more obvious that she seems to be shipping Yu and Tsubame. And I just don't understand why. I'm super baffled by this, because clearly in this volume she was very happy to see when Yu asked Tsubame out during the volleyball game. She was clearly happy about that.
Yes.
Right. And I just wonder what her motive is. If she has a motive, like, it seems just strange. I think, like, why is she supporting this ship so much? Like, so specifically, like, I am
right.
It is strange.
I think, based on what I've said, I think it has to be that she just wants Ishigami to have a normal life, or, like, just not be weighed down by all the rumors and everything, So why wouldn't she do Miko? Maybe she was trying to, but then she noticed that Ishigami likes Tsubame, so she decided to support him in that. Maybe. I feel like she would have to be incredibly. Her perception would have to be, like, incredible if she would be able to see and notice and pick up on all of these things, because she's not really around you very much. So she would have to, like, pick up on all these things by herself. I mean, it's possible.
It absolutely is. Definitely, it is possible.
And she seems to be one who, at least, is watching. You had that whole chapter where she was narrating and talking about Miko and Ishigami. So true. I don't know. Maybe she's more perceptive than we understand. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, yeah. I have even less speculations there than you do. I'm just really at a loss there.
But it's exciting, though. It's exciting to see that journal or that folder being passed to Tsubame, and I can't wait to see where that leads.
Exactly. The date, if it happens, should be pretty exciting, because she will go into that date with all of that information, because Miyuki's original plan was to give her that info after the date. But now Kobachi has already given her that. So yeah, it's very interesting. I was also thinking that maybe the date won't even happen, because what if during the time when the other student council members are away on their trip, what if Yu's and Miko's relationship grows a lot during that time, during that period, in which case the date with Tsubame, well, I don't know. Maybe it won't. Well, maybe it will. Maybe it won't happen. But I don't know.
That'd be kind of mean of Ishigami to call it off, because
nope,
there's another woman.
Well, I'm not saying he would necessarily call it off. I don't think he would. If that, but I'm just saying, like, things can happen. And, like, something that we might not foresee.
While you were in Kyoto. Sounds like a movies from the early 90s.
Yeah, it does.
But actually, going off what you just said, it got me thinking, what if she reads it and before the date she brings it up to Ishigami? Ishigami is upset that she finds out, and maybe he just is distraught about it all. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
very possible.
He's been very stubborn about it, so maybe he would take it hard if she found out the truth.
I think so. Although I do think getting the date, like seeing the date, would be nice, though, and to have this drama kind of on the date, I think would be especially interesting. And also, I would just like to see the characters up in the Tokyo Skytree, where I've actually been once.
Yeah, same.
Nice. It's a good view. Anything more on Kobachi?
No, that's all I got.
All right, then let's move on to Rei Onodera.
Good on her.
Right, I loved her role in the first chapter of this volume. So good. Like and like not only like good on her. Like yeah, she's such a sweet, nice girl. Like to keep Kaguya's secret like that. But it was also nice, I think, to see, well, to get to know a little bit more about her character and her past too. Like, because supposedly back in junior high, she was one of the many people that helped spread those rumors about you, and also rumors about Miko even. But she, somehow ended up in a bad place because of that, and she has grown and learned from that, and now she is able to think more critically about rumors like that.
That's what I was meaning when I said good for her. I like how she's changing herself because she realized she made a mistake about Ishigami and Miko, and so she's trying to not believe every rumor she hears and treating both of them much better than she had before.
Right.
Not that we've seen her treat him too terribly. Although, I don't know if you remember this, but way back when Onodera was first introduced, I mentioned how she seemed like she was one of those people who believed the rumors. And that over time, she had grown to see that potentially those rumors were wrong. And you could even see her trying to kind of reach out to Ishigami and basically kind of be a friend for him. Like that one part where he was reading a light novel and she just said, "Hey, what are you reading?" And he kind of, is like, a little taken aback, but explains what he's reading, and she just doesn't make fun of him or anything, just says, "Oh, hey, that's neat," and then goes about her day. So I think it showed that was just one of her ways of trying to change herself and basically make amends for the rumor spreading she had done in the past. So
right, that's very possible.
I really like how we see that.
Do we know when that happened? Did it happen in a flashback, like that book thing? Did it happen in a flashback, or did it happen during the Pep Squad training, like right before the?
It was after the
sports festival.
Yeah, sports festival.
Okay, yeah, and because in that case it makes sense. Because I was about to say that I think it was during the Pep Squad training days, right before the sports festival, that she finally actually came to the realization that you wasn't a bad person.
Right.
There was a scene there where she says something kind of nasty, or sort of like she kind of asks like, how can you show your face here, like and I think that was maybe the last time she had such, at least strong bad feelings for him, and I think definitely cooled off or warmed up after that.
Totally.
Yep.
Yeah,
I love her.
So it's interesting that she mentions the rumors about Ishigami and Miko. Obviously we know what the Ishigami rumors are, but what are the Miko rumors? Are they just kind of the bullying she received when she was trying to run for class president? Is that the rumors, or does it have something to do that's we don't know yet, or is it related to Ishigami? I don't know.
Well, we do know that Miko had a hard time in junior high. And whether if it was like just like talking behind her back about her, like and maybe spreading things that wasn't true about her.
She likes buzz cuts.
Right. I don't know. Yeah. Whatever it was, like it could have been.
It was a phase.
Definitely could have been something like that. Or it's also possible that maybe Miko, like maybe the bullying that Miko went through in junior high, or maybe even throughout all of middle school, like maybe it was far worse than we've seen so far.
Maybe.
And that maybe that's something we'll get to see more of.
Yeah.
Guess we'll see. Moving on, Maki Shijo, a little bit. I have a question for you. So,
sure.
Do you also think that she came out of the bath toward Tsubasa on purpose, just kind of in order to show off? Like, oh, look at my wet hair. or what do you think? No.
But I think she scored some points there.
Oh, yeah.
Big time.
Right.
Girl, the ponytails. I'm telling you, don't do it.
No.
It's so much better without the ponytails.
No, don't do it. No.
Or the twin tails, whatever you call them.
She's always cute, but no,
she's always cute.
You know I love her twin tails.
Yeah, I know.
I'm a sucker for that. But it was nice though to see her in this hairstyle more like close, like up close.
Yeah.
Because the only other time we had seen her with her hair let down was from like just very, very tiny little drawing.
Yep. I really wonder what's gonna happen with those three.
Yeah, dude. Like I love that kind of side story, or it's almost more than just a side story at this point because Maki has become such a prominent character at this point. I feel, and I guess Nagisa was always sort of important, So yeah,
right.
I guess it's more than a side story.
I guess this is probably more relationship stuff, but I'll say it anyway, and bring all three of them into it, because it's basically a love triangle kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And before in previous volumes, we've noticed, or at least in Kashiwaki's biography, it mentions that there's some tension between her and her boyfriend. So I was wondering, okay, maybe there's something to it, but maybe they'll just get over it. Maybe just growing pains, relationship pains. Who knows? But this one, where she comes out of the bath and Tsubasa sees her first, that's kind of like, I don't know if they're throwing a bone to Maki or if he's trying to hint at some sort of change in relationship. I don't know. I mean, I don't want there to be any cheating. That'd be terrible. But maybe he's trying to hint at a potential breakup with him and Kashiwagi, and maybe that's where Maki can give him the rebound. Oh, that's terrible to say, but I don't know. Just that moment seemed like a hint that he could be putting out there. I don't know. Like he sees her with the wet hair, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, that's pretty hot."
Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, maybe that is what's going through his head. Anything else on any of those three?
No.
Then let's talk slightly about Go Kasamatsuri and Saburo Toyosaki.
Those guys.
They haven't appeared in quite some time.
Weren't we saying we wanted more male characters in the manga?
Yes, that's
and
true.
Lo and behold, we get them. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think...
I don't have anything against these guys per se, but they're just kind of regular chumps.
They're not keepers.
Yeah.
They're a bit creepy, but still, I guess, innocent enough. But yeah, they at least they were fun in that last chapter.
Right.
Yeah, I guess that's it on them. And the last character, although I don't think we have anything specifically to say unless you do. We already talked about him, Kaguya Shinomiya.
Oh.
Kaguya's big brother, the third son of the Shinomiya family, indicating that she does have several older brothers.
Indeed. I didn't give him a character selection yet. I'm just like, no. I'm not gonna acknowledge your character.
Yeah.
until next volume, which I'm sure he'll have more of a role.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure. So yeah, I guess we'll talk more about him then. All right. Any other character that you'd like to talk about specifically? Otherwise, I think we can move on to the relationships.
I think I'm done.
All right, then let's talk about the relationships. First of all, Kaguya and Miyuki. And I just have one little thing there, and it's the scene when Kaguya wants Miyuki's attention.
Right. That's the exact same one for me, too.
Yeah. It was really funny and also super kind of just charming and nice.
I mean, it was like one of those, it's so cheesy, it gives me heartburn, but it's still like her face was really cute, and you could tell they're really in love.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Miyuki's a man who's got to do what he's got to do.
Yeah.
I definitely think, as he was saying, he was controlling himself the entire time.
Right. He was struggling. And I thought it was also really nice to see in that moment how how open Kaguya was in that whole scene. Like she didn't like restrain herself whatsoever. Like she just did completely
At all.
whatever her heart was telling her to do in that moment. She just wanted to, kiss him and hug him and sit in his lap and like yeah. And it's so nice to see how far she has come there, because just really only a few volumes ago, she definitely wouldn't have been comfortable doing any of that.
No.
So it's very nice to see. Anything more on them?
Nope.
All right, then let's move on to Miko and Yu. And there obviously was one chapter that was specifically about them, which starts with them fighting over another magazine. And actually, I do have a little bit of a tangent that I'd like to just go over before we get into the chapter there, related to that magazine. Yu mentions that it includes a one-shot by Mengo Yokoyari.
Okay.
I don't suppose you know who that is?
No.
No, I wouldn't have assumed so anyway. And for anyone else who doesn't know, I'm going to explain, because it's actually kind of neat. Yokoyari is a real mangaka who has made plenty of seinen mangas, and also ecchi manga, and even some hentai. But a little over a year ago, she teamed up with Akasaka to make to do the art for his story that he started then, called Oshi no Ko, which he writes and she illustrates. I think I mentioned this one to you maybe at some point.
Yeah.
And it's a series that I started reading basically right as it started last year, and I think it's really good. It's about kind of the ugly sides of the entertainment industry, and I think it deals with that really well while still being a comedy at the same time. It's not like lewd or anything like that, though. It's not like some other of Yokoyari's work. But it's a really nice manga, and I had actually, before that whole thing started, like before that manga started, I had actually read one of her lewder manga before that. So I knew of her even before that, and then when I learned that she would team up with Akasaka, I was like, wow, I was like super pleasantly surprised by that. So that was nice, and yeah, as I said, like it's been doing really well, and it's been a very good show, or a very good series, and yeah, just wanted to bring that up. I thought it was really nice how Akasaka referenced her in this volume.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yeah. Anyway, back to that chapter. Which is just a super sweet moment between Miko and Yu. Obviously, we talked earlier about how Chika, tries to tell you that, well, if you just compliment her, she'll treat you nicely and stuff like that. But Yu doesn't believe in that, because based on his own observations, if someone who doesn't have a high standing with Miko just gives her a simple compliment, it won't work. But it does work with him, against his assumptions, which I think is one of, at this point, many indications that Miko does like him.
I think if he had tried this maybe a few months ago, he might not have had the same results, but she has definitely grown a lot softer towards him ever since the Christmas situation. So
right, I would say ever since the end of the culture festival, even.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. You're right. Into the cultural festival, I think his approval rating has very much gone up. Before it was, not even a possibility. Probably. I mean, I think deep down there was probably something, always a little bit, but she had suppressed that.
Yeah.
So to that it was improbable, but now it's very much, and like I was saying earlier, she was very open with Ishigami that time, and I think Ishigami was seeing, as he mentioned, the true Miko, something that I guess he almost not refused to see, but never took the time to see.
Right, and I think it could actually be kind of similar in his situation as it is with Miko, where they've both been kind of keeping an eye on each other, but they've whenever they've been interacting with each other, they've all pretty much always shown each other their, well, bad sides in a way, because they haven't gotten along. And I think it's a very different thing to see someone be nice to someone else, as opposed to having that person that be nice directly to you. Like, I think it's a very different thing in how you kind of interpret that, like those sorts of things. So even though he might have seen Miko be sweet with other people, it, like, not having experienced it directly himself, I think, well, it makes sense that this was the moment when he kind of noticed that for the first time.
Yeah. It's definitely a parallel with how Miko has been seeing him lately, you know?
Yeah, totally.
How she saw him in a new light last volume, and now Ishigami is kind of seeing her in a new light.
Yeah. I love the progress they're making.
Yeah, it's pretty great, and it's not incredibly quick either.
Right, exactly.
Not that I need it to be slow, but it's just not, the pacing is very nice.
Agreed. And they also they find out they have some common interests in VTubers and in video games, even to a degree. Which was,
that was surprising.
Yeah, or, well, I guess I agree, it was a bit surprising, but it was also, it made sense, you know, especially since a few volumes back when we learned that Miko is also a weeb to a degree.
Well, even Ishigami says he didn't realize they had common interests. Like, he knew she was a weeb or an otaku, but not for the same things. That's how I felt. I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, actually. Yeah.
So, dealing with that same chapter, Miko comes in and says, hey, I need you to copy my notes for me. My handwriting is terrible. And to be fair, yeah, it looked sloppier than what her usual writing would have been like, because she's doing with the left hand. And I understand why she would want to recopy the notes, being as serious a student she is. But do you think there's a possibility that she wanted Ishigami to copy them so that he would also be learning and studying as well? Because he even mentions that he's like, oh man, I'm learning through this somehow.
Right.
So I don't know, like maybe she had an ulterior motive in doing that.
I like that idea, and it also goes along with another thing that I was thinking that, well, I think it's potentially three things all at once. First of all, what she says that it is, like, she does want the nicer looking notes, and also what you said. I think both of those work at the same time, and also just the fact that she wants to be with him. Like, I think, like, to some degree, like, because it is clear that she does have a curiosity or some kind of interest. So I think helping him out,
that's cute.
wanting her notes to look better, and wanting to spend time with him, I think all those three could work at the same time right here.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And I also, like, at the end of that chapter, when, you know, she just kind of gets this kind of emotional overload, kind of, you know, just because the moment between them there is just so nice, and she has to go out of the room for a while because it's just too much for her. I thought that was super touching and, like, just really sweet. Such a nice chapter. I love it so much.
Yeah. that was the chapter for me. I mean, well, besides the end of this volume, you know, where it's like, what, with the brother and everything.
Yeah.
But this chapter, after I read it, I was like, oh, I can't wait to talk with Petter about this. It's so good.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I'm so glad you liked it too. Other than that chapter, or do you have anything more on that chapter specifically?
I don't think I do, no.
Because then I have just a little bit on, the last chapter, where it was a brief little thing with them where they're kind of talking about how bathhouses are usually depicted in manga and stuff like that. You know, it wasn't too special of a conversation really, but it was still just a really nice and pleasant conversation between them. And yeah, it just shows the progress. Like, at this point they're able to have healthy, nice conversations with each other.
That's a good point.
I really like that.
Yeah.
And they're able to also kind of, in a way, bond over their common interests. You know, they both read manga, evidently. So yeah, Sweet.
By the way, I totally agree with the points they're making. It's
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
the picking of the bad thing is super illegal.
Yeah.
And I've always thought it's so strange. Like, what is the obsession? Obviously, there's some male fantasies going on there. But
Right.
Anyway.
Yep. Anything more on you and Miko?
I have nothing more.
All right. I don't have any other relationships noted down at all, so go for whichever ones you might have.
It would break my heart if Kaguya and Hayasaka were to actually break apart,
Yeah.
whether it be her, moving on with her life and going abroad, or the Shinomiya family taking her away. Whatever happens, and if it's them separating, that would really be sad, and I hope not. I at the same time, I understand that Kaguya has relied on Hayasaka for so long, and it might be good for her not to have that, especially now that she has Miyuki.
Right.
But
it is a step she needs to take.
Yeah, but at the same time, family is always there for you, And
of course.
Kaguya doesn't really have that family to rely on, other than Hayasaka. Or Ai.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
No, I'm with you there.
I'm kind of torn.
Right. Like, I think there is that basically it is going to be best for both of them to not have the same kind of dynamic that they have had so far, because even though it has been familiar, it has been sort of a sisterly bond, to a pretty big extent, but also to a very big extent, it has been, mistress and servant. Like,
right.
You can't really get away from that. And I think that has been bad for both of them in different ways. It's been obviously bad for Hayasaka because it's just been tearing at her. Like, she, as we see in this volume, she's grown sick of it. And I think it's also bad for Kaguya because it keeps her from progressing as a person and growing and into someone more independent. She needs to learn to not rely on Hayasaka, and Hayasaka needs to be free of that hard work. So, ideally, I would say they would be able to find a new dynamic. Of course, that would be hard probably, but a new dynamic where they can maintain their friendship and kind of their sisterly bond, perhaps, but in a different kind of environment.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for that to happen eventually, although I do expect it to take some time.
Yeah, that would be nice. Maybe Kaguya can do some of the things that Hayasaka has to do for the house, or
right.
Some of those things that Kaguya should be able to do herself.
Maybe, yeah.
But I guess it's hard to say. What that'd be anyway.
I was also thinking, actually, it could be interesting if eventually, because we don't know how much longer this manga is going to go. I think it's entirely possible that it might go on for as long as it has been going, and or at least that. Like, it could be going for quite a while. And what I was thinking is that wouldn't it be fun if Hayasaka, after she stops working as or for the Shinomiya family, if she would join the student council? I would really like that, and I think that would also lend to to Kaguya and her being able to kind of build a new kind of friendship.
That could be interesting.
Perhaps, yeah. Because really, in the Meet the Characters page, like the first page in every book, it's the 5 members of the student council and Hayasaka. She is a little bit out of place there, technically.
True.
But, I don't know.
She's the only one that says side character. Oh, no, that's not true. I think the other two are... Is Ishigami in?
Background character.
Background character. That's the word.
The only main characters are the 3 OG student council members.
That's right.
These labels are weird.
They're weird, man.
Yeah. Because really, you and Miko are both definitely more prominent than Chika, technically.
Wait, Hayasaka doesn't even have background character under.
Oh my god, you're right.
What is she?
That's a mystery.
Oh, gosh, dang it.
Well. Anyway, I think it would be nice to see her in the student council.
Yeah, yeah, it could be interesting.
Yeah. What else you got on relationships?
Just real quick, Kaguya and Ishigami, you came to her for volleyball advice.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just again another evidence of how strong their relationship is, and it's just kind of the big sister helping out the little brother situation. It's really like that.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love the friendship they've built up.
Right.
I mean, we have said it before, but yeah, it is awesome. Yes.
You and Tsubame, they have a date in Yokohama. I mean the Sky Tree.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what unfolds, but I wonder if someone will try to crash the date. Now, I understand they're trying to avoid Chika, like the Chika factor. But it would be hilarious if she ended up there. But what if Miko and Kobachi ended up tagging along just out of curiosity?
Oh.
That could make for an interesting chapter.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think what I'm hoping for right now is for that date, if it does happen, to be more kind of dramatic, in which case Chika probably wouldn't fit in, but maybe Miko and Kobachi could fit into something like that.
Yeah.
So
I think
I like that.
and then lastly, relationships, Miyuki and Miko. I like how Miyuki calls her the next student council president.
Exactly.
I thought that was very sweet and just shows how much he. I mean, maybe he was saying something to make her feel better, but I think he's not just sweet talking. I think he does believe that she could become the next student council president.
Absolutely, definitely. Yeah, I really liked that touch too. It was very sweet.
Yeah.
Then let's move on to the last stretch of the discussion, the comedy.
Yay!
So the cherry stem chapter. We touched on it a little bit earlier, but
gosh,
I thought that was
funny.
That was probably the funniest chapter in this book, I think.
Oh, show you dork!
Like my funniest gag was the cherry boy gag.
Yes,
in that
the
one.
cherry boy.
Like, where did that come from? She's never called him cherry boy.
Yo, stop calling me Cherry Boy. I'll even apologize for calling you Cherry Boy.
Right.
I mean, have you ever called her Cherry Boy?
It's like, did those two just come from a different dimension where they have used to be like call him Cherry Boy, or like what happened there? Because I don't know. I'm at a loss. It was just hilarious though. I loved it.
That whole chapter is just so great. You know, Kaguya being able to tie the stem and then quickly untying it.
Yeah.
Ishigami's mind just blown. He's like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, and he's the only one who knows too. It's so good. Yeah. And Miko asking Nagisa, like, teach me how to be a good kisser.
Oh my.
Like, oh.
And Chika's like, don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Don't look at her that way. Yeah, that was a fantastic chapter from a comedic standpoint.
It really was.
And at the end, like Miyuki, like going like the whole day trying to tie his stem.
Great gag. The Ring Fit Adventure thing was pretty funny to see. Having played it myself, just Ishigami playing that game, you know, that was
for sure.
That was funny.
Yeah, I love all of the Switch games that they bring into the
right.
Like,
it's so great.
They've already played Mario Kart, and it's like it's awesome.
Both Chika and Miko seem pretty excited to go to the Pokemon Center.
Oh
Friendship goals. Goals.
That too. That's true. Yeah. It's in Ikebukuro, right?
Yeah, Ikebukuro. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think I've been there. Anyway, what was the board game club up to in the Hayasaka chapter? Like, what's that? Like for sale?
All I say is I'll take your entire stock.
Of course. Or the entire stock, or only half of it?
All of your Chika stock.
Okay, yeah. Yep. It's a good stock. Oh my god. The last thing I noted down for comedy here was the last chapter where Chika had wrapped the towel around her hair.
Yeah.
So the pervy boys couldn't see her wet hair, and she had her ribbon on the towel, which I mean,
Yeah.
we've seen her do stuff like that before, of course, but
Mhm.
like when
That's her identity.
yeah, exactly. If she doesn't have the ribbon, and I mean, we've seen that ribbon have like band-aids on it because
I love it.
I guess
Oh
that's
gosh.
it's part of her, and I think every time
Mhm.
when she's Love Detective Chica, she always has it on her cap, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was funny, and like what one of the other guys said when they saw her, like, she's acting like my mom. It was also really funny.
Hey, Mama Chica. I mean,
Right.
she's the best mom in the manga. Like,
I'm a teen mom. Yeah. Yeah. What more on comedy? That was it for me.
so the one last thing I'll say is the volleyball in Ishigami's face when he's
Oh,
dissing on Hayasaka's date
that's right.
cracked me up, and just her like huffing and puffing away, you know. Well, that chapter was pretty funny, and the reference to like bibbidi bobbidi boo, I thought that was kind of
Yeah.
it was like a heh, kind of
Yeah.
a chuckle heh,
Right.
But apparently that went over Kaguya's head or whatever.
Yeah. At the same time, it was. I think it was still like a sad chapter at the same time, but the comedy in it was still great. And like speaking of that ball, like I didn't notice it in the first panel where it appeared because it was just like right next to Yu's head, and like it doesn't look like it's in motion in that panel. Like it's kind of mostly behind the speech bubble, so I didn't notice it there. And then in the next panel, it's just poof, like right in the cheek. But yeah, that was glorious.
KO or boom headshot.
Yep. So yeah, wonderful volume.
Yeah, fantastic.
Little predictions, perhaps. I think we have sprinkled some predictions throughout the discussion, but other things that we haven't mentioned. Well, I think I think we will see the rest of the school trip. I think it's safe to say next volume we'll see the rest of the school trip. And as I said, also I think also seeing what goes on at the school during the school trip between Miko and Yu, and I guess Tsubame potentially as well. It's also interesting. And my last little prediction, or maybe not a prediction, but a little bit of a hope for the next volume is that I'd like to see Miko's arm heal at some point during the next volume. Yeah. This is going to be my standing prediction until it happens.
Yeah.
So what do you got, if anything?
I've kind of said my predictions throughout the whole thing, so
right.
It's kind of hard to relay them all now, and I'll not for the sake of brevity. But I think that, yeah, I agree that we'll get the rest of the Hayasaka and school trip arc taken care of. I said it in this that volume 20 we would get the date. I think that's what I said. I wonder if we'll get the date at the end of this volume.
I think that's very possible. I was also gonna, I'm probably gonna say that, and then maybe Valentine's Day, the volume after that.
Oh.
I don't think we'll get Valentine's Day until the next volume, but maybe the one after. Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
Because I mean that's definitely gonna be an event though when it comes.
Yeah.
Around.
Oh gosh.
It has
Can't
to be.
wait. I don't know what's going down, but
right.
There's gonna be something good, right?
Definitely. Yeah. And yeah, so as I said at the beginning of this episode, we are now caught up to, well, more or less caught up to the physical English volumes, with volume 19 basically releasing today as of recording. And yeah, it should be out when this episode releases, and we will cover it as soon as we can, as soon as I get my hands on it. James will get his hands on it sooner, but here in Sweden I don't get it quite by then. But as soon as we both have it, we will cover that one as well. And basically from that point on, or from this point on, that's how we're going to cover this series. Is whenever there's a new volume out, we will make an episode out of it. So it's not going to be as steady of a release as it has been so far. Since we started this back in December, we've been making 3 episodes every month, and it will have been now 6 months in a row with that. And well, obviously we can't keep that up anymore now that we're caught up. But yeah, I feel like we've gotten so much done since we started this.
It's been a long ride.
It has. It's been a great ride.
It's been fun.
Yeah, and it actually reminds me of my initial, my original idea how I wanted to cover this, which I figured I just mentioned briefly because if anyone listening is curious, before I proposed to James that we would make a podcast out of this, I wanted to make like a solo discussion, like me talking about a volume per episode. However, I would film myself like sitting in an armchair, like holding the book in my hand and talking like to the camera, being like all, I don't know what I was thinking. It was a pretty bad idea, but I recorded like most of that thing. I'd written a script. I put up like I built up like a little filming set. Like I was very like thorough with all of those things. I recorded most of it, but well, it didn't really feel right. I don't know if it was the fact that I was on camera, or if it was the fact that I was like it was all scripted, or if it was the fact that I was all by myself, or if it was a combination of all those things. It wasn't for me. I kind of realized. So that never happened, which was like the next step after that was I asked James if he wanted to do make it into a podcast instead. Anyway, I was actually thinking that maybe just kind of for fun, I might cut that together into like just like a couple seconds, just kind of maybe the intro where I go like, "Welcome. Today I'm going to talk about the first volume of Kaguya-sama," and or maybe just that, just to kind of show what it would have looked like if it would have actually happened. I've been considering doing that, and if I do it, I would upload it to our YouTube channel.
That's cool.
Just like because it would be fun to at least archive my idea that I had, even though it never came to fruition, and kind of just show what it would have sort of been like ish. But anyway, that's just a thing that I've been thinking about, and also now that we are more or less caught up with Kaguya-sama, James and I are going to start covering another manga series each month instead, since there won't be as much Kaguya-sama anymore. We're going to be talking about To Your Eternity, the manga of that. It's actually getting an anime adaptation right now, which is amazing. And it is one of my favorite manga series. It's written by the same mangaka who wrote A Silent Voice, if anyone doesn't know. She's called Yoshitoki Oima, and she is definitely one of my favorite mangaka. She's probably right below Hayasaka in my favorite mangaka list. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about 2 volumes a month of that one, if anyone's interested in following along with that podcast, which is going to be starting at the beginning of June. And if you haven't read it, maybe you'd be interested in reading it along with us. I mean, we're not going to be going too fast, so it would be easy to to keep up if someone's interested in doing that, or if you have read it, then maybe you'd still enjoy listening to us talk about those discussions. James is going to go into his blind, so that's going to be fun, and eventually I won't be, I will be blind too, but we'll have to get a few volumes in to get there, similarly as with this Kaguya-sama series. But that was basically all I wanted to just mention about that. Do you have any closing words, James?
Well, I guess I can just briefly give my thoughts on the series as a whole, since we've technically caught up.
Do it.
I think Kaguya-sama is one of the best rom-coms I've read. Not so much in incredible story or mind-blowing moments per se. What it does well is it blends the romance and the comedy equally, and while there isn't much mind-blowing moments, there's still moments where, I didn't expect that, or I like the way this is going. It's unique. So I appreciate its uniqueness in a genre like rom-com.
Yeah.
And again, I think it does a great way of balancing it. I love the characters. They're relatable. And again, as I've said in previous discussions, what makes these characters so great is because they're relatable, and you can see some of their actions and choices are things that people would do in real life, whereas some stories are maybe a little more unrealistic on their takes on some of the people's choices and the way they act. So anyway, I really enjoy it, and the art is beautiful. Amazing characters, designs, even though they're all wearing school uniforms, it's still very distinct and unique and
exactly.
So that's my thoughts.
Nice. Yeah, I'm really glad to hear that. And obviously I still love this one too. It became my favorite manga last fall, which was why I decided I wanted to do something dedicated to it online, which led to this podcast eventually. And I've been so happy to be doing that. And for me, it's the characters that are really the stars of this series, and that because it is such a character-driven story, and for me, it's like I just find myself caring so deeply about every single one of these characters, and I just want all of them to find happiness and love, and I don't know, yeah, the characters, man, they're amazing. So yeah, that's all I had to say about that. So if you enjoy our content, you can follow us on Twitter at Umami Manga. And if you like this episode, please share it around with anyone you think might enjoy it too. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time where we'll talk about Volume 19. Bye-bye!
See you later! Have fun editing that out. Ha!
Thank you.